It does not
Well,
meet the
it was,
requirements.
it talks directly about Mayflower.
Do you have that with you so we could receive it?
We didn't receive it the way we do normally receive.
I think we need our
Quotes
attorney to
and
weigh in
bids.
on this. Mr. Mish?
What was received?
It is a spiral bound booklet.
Just about the,
Sure.
oh, Tony's got it. Let me take it.
There it is.
I don't think it was a bid.
It's probably just,
Statement of qualifications,
Yeah.
right?
may I approach?
May you approach the bench? Sure. This is
If we
good.
say no, what do you?
That's it. They included all that. I've never seen.
I couldn't even remember the name.
If I can take this, I suppose.
Okay.
It's the only one they put in because they were supposed to.
We each got a copy.
Okay, so there were supposed to be 4 copies. So I will need to get those to we see.
Okay.
All right, the final quote you have is from Collins Engineering out of Chesterton, Indiana. Recommend that we receive these quotes and turn them over to engineering for review and scoring.
I'll make a motion to that. Second.
Commissioner Hazen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye,
Motion carries.
Thank you.
thank
I'll
you.
get those others from you guys and
Before we go on, I'd like to change our agenda a little bit. We have some Youth of the Month to recognize
And a citizen and a business.
and a citizen and a business. I'm just
There you go.
seeing one.
Okay.
We would like to get caught up on those, so.
All right, we'll start off with the June 2024 Citizen of the Month, Sandy Wadowski. Come up to the podium, please. And any family members that would like to join her? Yes, ma'am. Any family members like to join her? Thank you. Sandy just retired from the South Bend Police Credit Union after being employed there from February 1st of 1995 until now. And for those of you who don't have kind of homegrown credit unions, they're fantastic when you need to do stuff. You don't have to go through a long line, wait for calls. You can call her and say, hey, I'm trying to buy this. And she says, Dieter, you don't have any money, you can't buy it. So you have to try again. But she's been a fantastic asset for all of the people have gone, thousands and thousands of people to the credit union when it was at the police station on Sample and another time across from the Dewdrop and then its current spot on Main Street. So I can tell you and all the other officers and other people and everybody else that's been there over the years, we truly appreciate all that you guys have done there, especially you. You've led the charge, been the longest employed, I believe, over the years. So it's a sad thing for us, but awesome for you and the family that you don't have to come down there any days. They'll probably call you if there's a problem. But again, the commissioners and everybody in St. Joe County are very proud that you had done and did a great job of serving the community for such a long, long time. So we appreciate that. And I think somebody has something else to say with you there.
No.
No,
Okay. Carl, Tony?
I'll just echo what Derek said. Haven't had the pleasure of knowing you personally, but Derek, when he nominated you, certainly sang your praises, and we feel it's well-deserved that you be recognized.
Thank you. Means a lot to me.
Okay,
I have,
Tony.
I have worked with her for, I think, since
40
1995.
years.
And she was always a pleasure to work with. And not only with the credit union, but what she's done with 4-H and that, being involved with that and the youth. Appreciate all you've done for the community. Thank you.
Okay, come on up for this lovely plaque. Cameras come on up here so you get a better shot.
Three cameras, so be patient. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Great, thank you.
Next, we have the business of the month. As soon as they're done yapping. Okay, Gene, may you step up to the podium, please? The award goes to Bamber's Superette Food Market on Mishawaka Avenue. Gene has been operating that for a long, long time, and he will expound on that. I can tell you all the years on the police department, all the years on the fire department, at least once or twice a year, there would be a plethora of food coming in from Bamber's, chicken, meatballs, pasta, you name it. He's taking, yes, sir. Taking care of all the officers, firemen, first responders, and that's over the years been greatly appreciated when you come in to work and have something decent to eat as opposed to fast food. Mr. Mish. So all the years on Mishawaka Avenue, Gene, the microphone is yours.
Boy. This is a good week though, Derek, because this week has been 74 years since my dad built the store. My grandpa did it first in 1915. And so we're still going, selling a lot of spaghetti, stuff in the deli, a lot of cannolis, and a bunch of red wine. And that's what we do.
No,
And we have fun doing it.
I do, I know that. For those who have never been there on Mishawaka Avenue, kind of catty corner from the farmer's market, like probably the last of a hometown family-owned market as opposed to all the big box and all that stuff we
Well,
have.
one of the few, there's a bunch of meat markets around town, Jaworski's and all those also though, that are family owned, but not as old as me.
I concur. But whether you
old.
want to get fresh pasta, bread, everything like that, you want to go in the back room when he's cutting steak and chicken, you can do that. Over 100 different brands of soda and stuff that's in
Oh,
there.
boy, yeah, the whole wall, yeah,
Mm.
good 100 of them,
Yes.
right.
So it's been a great place. You've been a great asset to the east side of South Bend and all of South Bend. So we really appreciate everything you and your family have done over the span of that store. So thank you.
Yeah. Part of the credit goes to the city though, with all the administrations, making sure the neighborhoods are always nice and everything too. And all the cops and everything else. So
That's true.
goes to them too. It does. Yeah.
And we have cannolis if y'all want to come up after the meeting or before, even while we're going on. Carl.
We don't come in as much as we used to, but one of your more dedicated, loyal customers was Jane Hyde, who lived on Twickenham.
Absolutely.
And we used to come in a lot more when Jane was still with us, but
Correct.
certainly you have
Great
done a lot.
lady. Great
She
lady.
was.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And this award is well deserved.
Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you for staying with the city.
Not a problem. Come in the store, get some cannolis. Yeah.
Let's give it up.
I picture you gotta use my phone so I can tell my, flash lights here, you know. Thank you.
All right, 2 cameras, so. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Great. Thank you.
So with that part, you have to figure it out. Hold a couple of those Green Rivers ones. I got them. And now, the youth of the month, Leanna Hudson and family may step up to the podium, please. Come on.
Little man's not moving.
Leanna is a 2024 graduate of Washington High School. In the fall, she will be attending Ancilla College and an accepted member of the 2026 of the veterinarian program. Following her completion from college, she hopes to continue a career in veterinary nursing and her dream of expanding her herd of cattle and developing economically friendly farm. So Garland, as your daughter, you can step up and tell of all the great things she has done, which I know she continues to do at the camps out there.
Yeah. So this is my daughter and she's
And your name for the record, sir?
Garland Hudson, South Bend Washington Athletic Director, actually, and I've been there for the last 14 years, I guess. Either way,
Coach the Dieter Boys.
I've got a chance to do this more than one time with other students, but this is awesome to do with my daughter. And in the last 4 years, watching her blossom into the beautiful woman that she is becoming has been awesome. She is a 4-H member. She did 10 years 4-H, cattle, goats, sheep, all the above. And her dream, like she had talked about, is to aspire to do some eco-friendly farming. And I'm all in favor and support of all what she wants to do with that. And to see her also on the other side be a part of her community with the PALS program every summer, teaching kids how to play tennis. And this year, watching her play and make it to regionals, which hadn't been done at Washington in years. So, you know, as well as I do, St. Joe's kind of that powerhouse, but to make it out of that sectional into a regional as an individual tennis player was awesome to see. And then to want to share her love of sports with the youth, including her little brother, was awesome to see as well. And again, I can't help but be very proud of her and what she's accomplished and what she wants to do. And again, just be a pillar in her community and just proud more than anything else, and having the community notice her as well. And her actions speak way louder than her words. And I know she's not going to want to come up here and say a whole bunch, but I would love her to just speak on her behalf as well, because I'm big on empowerment. I'm big on empowering her and putting her up on a pedestal. And this is my baby girl. I have 3 boys, but this is my baby girl. And if she just gives us half a second and you hear what she says, it sounds much better than me trying to toot a horn.
You have 30 minutes.
Okay. So as you said, I'm going to Ancilla College this fall. I got accepted into a 1 in 20 program, so I'm very proud of that. I love working with the PALS program. I've built some great connections with the police department, and I just have a love for them, and I enjoy doing it. And I love that they love me there. And I've participated in basketball, volleyball, swim, golf, tennis, so during my high school. And I am just very grateful to be up here and that I'm recognized for the hard work that I've put in. And then after college, I'm hoping to pursue an eco-friendly farming with my cattle and just educate from where I go to school. There's a lack of knowledge in what good meat is. And so I'm hoping to educate my community on that. So.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. And besides all that great stuff that you're doing, which I witnessed, and when you guys are out there doing tennis and all the other sports and all the hundreds of kids that come out there on a daily basis is cool, because I've seen that firsthand. And also your father, who did coach the boys and athletic director and has done a phenomenal job. Washington is way up here when it comes just not sports, but student activity, working, doing things in the community. So we're very proud that all the stuff that you guys have been doing. The pride of the West Side, Mish. Okay. Carl?
And a proud member of the Pride of the West Side.
There you go.
I had two nephews who went to Washington, so showing my age, just like I said with the previous person, it's been a long time, but well-deserved again for you. And it's great to see, I think, not that we don't enjoy the citizen and the business, but seeing the youth of the community recognized is a little more special, gives you hope for the future.
Hey, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Even dressed up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, 3 cameras. So, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. That's okay. Sure. Really? I'm working stuff.
We need awards. Y'all can stay if you want.
Moving on to the Commissioners' approval of Keel Architecture Phase 2, the Courthouse 1 Services Proposal.
Good evening, Commissioners. Bree Roberts, Director of Procurement with offices on the 7th floor of this building. As you mentioned, before you today is a proposal from Keel Architecture to continue their work on our historic Courthouse 1 building repair and renovation project. This board previously engaged Keel Architecture as overseeing architect on this project with Phase 1 fully completed. Keel has provided the attached AIA agreement for Phase 2, which is in your possession. In this phase, Keel Architecture will assist in shepherding SJC through any Historic Preservation Commission required paperwork and approvals that are outstanding, required permitting, bidding, and construction plans and specifications drafting. Total compensation for this phase, as outlined in Article 11 of said agreement, is $142,500. This is the next step in ensuring that this historic courthouse repairs are made and it can remain intact and operational for many years to come. Procurement finds this favorable and asks for your approval.
Any questions? This is something we've started. Was over in the courthouse the other day for the robing ceremony for the new judges, and you could see some additional deterioration because of the leaks that we've been experiencing. So,
It is ongoing. Be very happy to get this fixed.
with that, do we have a motion to approve Keel Architecture for Phase 2 of the Courthouse 1 services?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Hazen, how do you vote? Aye. Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Aye. Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item is approval of the Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Al Cursett, St. Joe County EMA Director. with James Lopez, Deputy Director, with offices at 125 South Lafayette, where the door is always open and you're always welcome to pop in. What you have before you is the St. Joseph County Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan, commonly called the CEMP. It's required by state law. It outlines a lot of the processes we would do in a disaster of any kind. There's 15 emergency support functions within this. Also, are annexes in the back, and it just names the people, the procedures, the phone numbers, the process of how we would manage whatever incident it was upon us, whether it would be a tornado or a hazmat incident, or perhaps some huge medical emergency with a giant patient surge. The old plan was completely outdated. A lot of the people listed in the plan, this plan has contact numbers on who to call. This is the plan we would take off the shelf if we had to establish an emergency operations center, go into an incident command mode. Within this, it also has a procedure, the process of how a disaster is declared through the state. And it also has a command chart where you people, where the elected officials are in the process and the different agencies. Jim here has worked very hard on this. We've had a lot of meetings on it, and it requires, but how do I say doesn't demand? It'll still be in full force, but it requires approval of the three major agencies, which is the St. Joseph County, the city of South Bend, and the city of Mishawaka. We've been informed verbally that the city of South Bend is going to sign off on this. Mayor Woods, we had a meeting with him a couple weeks ago. He's looking favorably at it, and we ask that you would approve it also. Are there any questions for Jim or myself?
I just want to note, I've been aware of this for a while and how hard both of you have worked on this, Jim especially. And just another note, might be a good time to say thank you also for the work that was done. Department of Homeland Security is requiring an inventory or a survey of all of our EMS providers, and had a little trouble, technical trouble, getting it submitted. But thanks to the work of Jim and Elisa Schrader, thank you, at the state, we were able to get that submitted. And thanks to all the EMS departments who provided that information.
Yeah, that wasn't rolled out real well by the state. One side was doing one thing, the other side didn't really communicate the whole process. But thank you. Some counties in the state, I think, were just not going to do it, which really isn't the option. It was to gather information for the legislature to make future decisions. We'd also like to thank the contractual administrative assistant for the commissioners, Jane Schlichter, for her help on this. She put together the manual for us and got us the buffalo jumping over the log with, I think, a young Derek Dieter chopping down the tree in the background.
Oh, yeah.
But we like that logo, our historic logo. But we thank Jane for all the help she gave it, and she made it really nice and gave it a good touch.
She did. Any other comments or questions on the Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan?
The one other thing also, there's a glossary section in there with a lot of the acronyms the state uses, IDHS, EOC, JIC, Joint Information Center. They're all explained in here what it is, and it can really help. We even go back and look them up sometimes when we get a little confused.
And you mentioned that there are going to be some addendums to this.
Yes,
Going
absolutely.
forward.
Yeah.
Great. With that, do we have a motion to approve the Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan for St. Joseph County?
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Hazen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good job, guys.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to IPG, the bid award for the Alexander Satellite Highway Garage.
Sky Matters again, Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth, offices on the 7th and 11th floor. Last week, we accepted bids for our St. Joseph County Alexander Highway Garage, Satellite Highway Garage. Project A, which was salt storage building, and Project B, which was site development. We received two bids, one from Majority Builders, Inc., and the other from R. Yoder Construction, Inc. We've reviewed those, and also our consultant DLZ took a look at those. And we are recommending that the project be awarded to the low bidder, R. Yoder Construction, for a base bid and alternate number 1A amount for the combination of bid project A and B for total contract amount of $2,904,337. Happy to answer any questions and request your approval.
Any questions?
If awarded, you know when that will be done?
Right now, I believe the project completion date is October 31st. So yeah, October 31st, I believe it is. When there's incentives if they finish within 30 days early, and there's also liquidated damages if they go beyond that.
Really need it done by the end of October to be ready for the winter season.
Yes,
So
yeah, that's what we're hoping.
glad we're moving forward. Do we have a motion to approve the bid award of the Alexander Satellite Highway Garage to R.A. Yoder?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Hazen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next, we have the consent agenda for infrastructure planning and growth. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Hazen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Moving on to the Health Department. First item, ratification of agreement with HealthLink.
Jody Paris, Director of Nursing, on the 9th floor. We're on the 9th floor. We are, the Department of Health Nursing Division would like your support in entering in a memorandum of agreement with HealthLink to provide vaccines, to the community members and at the events at HealthLink location according to their policies and our policies. And, our council has already looked over it and approved them.
Any questions?
Negative.
Well, certainly providing vaccines is vital. So I'm glad we're doing this. If there's no questions, this has been shown to the board, the health board.
Hi, I'm Mike Rubel, Director of Operations with the Department of Health on the 8th and 9th floors. This has not been reviewed with the board. This request came about with a request from HealthLink. We've done events with them for several years, but for reasons known to them, they requested an MOU to be done this year for events going forward. We wanted to maintain that good relationship and be able to provide the vaccine services at their events. And so we complied with their request and through council, worked out an agreement that was agreeable to all the parties.
I see that the Health Council, Marcel Levin, has reviewed it.
Yes, yes.
There was an event last year at La Casa, Amistad, and HealthLink was there. So got to meet them personally. Any questions about the memorandum of agreement with HealthLink?
No.
There being none, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Hazen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter,
Aye.
how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next is the approval of the employment contract for Spanish translation.
Is there a B first?
Hello. Again, Mike Rubel with the Department of Health on the 8th, 9th floor. We are requesting an approval for the employment of Spanish translation. We have a need for someone to work on a contract basis to provide Spanish translation of written materials for the department. That would include forms that we use within the department as well as education materials. I'm sorry. And for other brochures that we would give out at our public events. At the moment, we are adding on to programming, particularly in light of the HFI funding and some of the expansion of the services that we're doing. So we have some extra need to have future materials translated. We also have some questions about some of the past materials that have been translated. So we would like to have those redone so that they're consistent with so that the materials are done in a solid presentation to the public and make sure that we're giving accurate information in the Spanish language.
Is this going to be one person?
We do have one person. We are looking for a second candidate so that we do have a backup. And in the event that we have additional work that is over and above what one person can do, that we have someone else available on the team. But right now, we just have one person.
And is this a yearly contract?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just thinking of having somebody to check the work that person does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I apologize. It's not a yearly contract. It is, the contract can be terminated at any time by either party for any reason.
Mhm.
So
I just want to make sure when something's being translated that something doesn't slip and
sure.
people don't understand or whatever.
The person that we have selected as the first candidate is verified as certified in medical Spanish translation.
Okay.
So she is very well qualified and has met the standards. Is someone that I am aware of through my prior employment with St. Joseph Health System, where she worked teaching Spanish certification and did Spanish translation there. And so she came very highly recommended and is known to be a very reliable and highly professional person in this regard.
Okay. And how many other of your workers out in the field are fluent in Spanish?
We have several in the
Several,
field.
meaning 10, 20?
Ballpark
Ballpark figure.
I would
Like, the
say
point is, you
probably
guys have
anywhere
enough-
from 10 to 12.
Okay, so you have
roughly.
enough people to go out into the community.
Yes,
and do
and
that.
so they do, they'll share the interpretation, the verbal work that they do that's integral to them working in the community. The focus of this person, while she can do interpretation, her focus is really on written materials. And she may provide as we go forward and as we do more social media or work, we may do some Spanish voiceover work as well down the road, but that's right now the focus will be on written work.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Dieter makes a good point. In my previous life as a recovering planner, we worked all over the country, and I thought Google Translate was good enough, and true Spanish speakers corrected my thinking that way. So having somebody who can do that for the department.
Oh, thank you.
It's
And
good.
we did vet the person past folks in the department that we feel are highly reliable and have done some degree of Spanish translation work for us. And they gave her excellent marks on the translations that she did that we tested her with.
If there are no other questions, do we have a motion to approve the employment contract for Spanish translation?
Second.
Commissioner Hazen, how do you vote? Aye. Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
Did we do B?
We didn't do B. That's what I was looking for. Just 1 second.
No, we didn't. So she's stepping up there now.
Good. Would you talk to us about approval of the agreement with the University of Notre Dame?
Absolutely. So this program was awarded, applied for and was awarded one of our Health First Indiana grants for St. Joe County to help with our maternal infant health initiatives. So this is for a pop-up village that the University of Notre Dame is doing two events this year, one in South Bend, one in Mishawaka. The health department is funding this initiative. However, the care unit, Renata Williams, Director of Care, Law Building, second floor, will also participate as a vendor to provide some of the direct services that our team already does in the community. The idea of the event is to have a bunch of organizations provide services to women and family directly there versus sending them somewhere else or letting them know where they can go. They have all the services on site. So they are asking all of the 40-something vendors to sign these 3 documents in order to participate. However, we, as the health department at the county level, can't just sign documents like other organizations. So I'm here before you to ask for permission for that.
And your name for the record, ma'am.
Renata Williams.
Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Williams?
Negative.
If not, do we have a motion to approve the agreement with the University of Notre Dame?
Second.
Commissioner Hazen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do
Aye.
you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion
Thank
carries.
you.
Moving on to old business. First thing we have to do is take the health board appointment and put it back on the floor for consideration. We tabled that a couple weeks ago.
Make a motion on table.
Okay.
Commissioner Hazen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye,
We have a couple of people who would like to comment.
absolutely.
Wanna
That's
do it
the
now?
purpose, yes.
All right. Mr. McManus, you're up.
Thank you. Good evening, gentlemen and lady. Way back in, on June 11th, you announced that there would be a search for or request for applications for the vacancy on the health board. Attached to that, among the agenda papers was an official notice. The last line of which says interviews with selected candidates will be scheduled and held according to Indiana Code Section 5-4-1.5 at SEC, which is the Indiana Open Door Law. Particularly for something like the health department, which affects every single one of us in the county, it would be nice for this body, the elected representatives, to follow the law. Now, you aren't required to interview people, but if you do choose to interview people, which you did, those interviews are required to be public interviews. Those interviews weren't public. So once again, we're very critical personnel. You don't follow the law and you keep the public in the dark. And that's just not right. And I don't understand why you continue to disregard and disrespect the public.
Next, we have Cheryl Nix online.
Sorry about that. Excuse me. I would just like to say that I want to remind the Board of Commissioners, I know one of the applicants for the Board of Health is a retired family physician from the town of Walkerton, which often complains about not being represented in county government. I've heard comments at council meetings and such. And that neither of the mayors by state law are allowed to appoint physicians to the Board of Health. So a physician has now left the Board of Health and has moved up to become our health officer. I applaud your decision about that. But now we have somebody who has applied for that same vacancy, who is also a family physician, knowledgeable on public health. I hope that you're giving her very strong consideration. I know that she was finally interviewed in a phone interview this morning. She has been really great about attending Board of Health meetings and has shown tremendous interest in public health. And so I think it's just really important that she be given this opportunity. So I hope that you've taken a good look at Dr. Cynthia Heckman Davis and award her this position. Thank you.
Appreciate the comment. We have received quite a few letters of intent and resumes. And we received 3 names from the Board of Health that asked us that we consider those 3 individuals. We have. And not to suck up to anybody, but I gotta say, those were 3 of the better resumes that we've received for any position. Each one of them that brings a different perspective to the Board of Health. But we did talk to them, and at this point, I will open up nominations to fill the vacancy on the Health Board.
Before I make the nomination, I'll have Mr. Mish explain further the issues that Mr. McManus was speaking of.
Sure. So this was litigated actually with Mr. McManus. The open door law only applies when there is a quorum of a board that is present, which means if 2 or more of you are in a room, then the open door law applies. So the provision under the law that Mr. McManus is referring to is an exception to an exclusion. So you are allowed to interview people in an executive session, let's say an employee, and not have that open to the public. However, if you are doing a interview where 2 or more of you are present, then that has to be open to the public if it is a board appointee. However, if Carl Baxmeyer talks to the person on the phone and Derek Dieter talks to the person on the phone and the 2 of you aren't doing it together and not in the same room, then the exception to the exclusion does not apply and it does not have to be open to the public. So you're welcome to have coffee individually with the person, to meet with them, interview them, but you can't do it as a group. So as far as I understand, the conversations were individual and independent and therefore appropriate under the law, and which is what the court has stated, and also the public access counselor.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to make a motion to nominate Michael Harding.
Second. Commissioner Hazen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Moving on to general public comments. Anybody
Dan.
wishes to speak?
Good evening, Commissioners. Good to see you again, Jane. I want to talk about the Amazon project in New Carlisle. Again, I've said all along, I'm for growth. I just want it done the right way. I want it to blend in with the community, and I want people to do things by the law. I found out last week that with the interlocal agreement between New Carlisle and St. Joseph County, they would put a 24 million gallon cap on the water withdrawn from the aquifer. I attended that meeting last Monday night and was allowed to ask questions, and I asked the council, do we know how much water Amazon is going to be pulling out of the aquifer? And they said, one answered and said, yes. And I said, how much? And they said, we signed a non-disclosure agreement, which when you think about it, why should the amount of water they're taking out of my source of water, out of the farmer's source of water, out of everybody else's source of water over there, why should that be some secret? I'm beginning to get some bad vibes that Amazon thinks they can make up the rules as they go. Great. Of course, they're just went over the $2 trillion in value amount. I get that. And you like to do business with those types of people. But it's time to put the rules in writing. Like there's been suggestion that maybe they can ease the burden that's coming on the power grid and put solar panels on top of their 16 buildings, 216,000 square feet each. They seem to not want to do that. They don't want to talk about that. Only when they want to talk about something like getting a variance because now they've discovered that the property is set up the wrong way once they started putting the concrete and the metal in the ground, that it wasn't safe when the property would be developed, that they needed a variance from that. They seem to be doing things haphazardly. And just as was done with the current non-conforming user in the IEC area that was just taken care of last week, I really think there should be a pause put on and just stop them right now and say, we want stuff in black and white. We want it in writing. We don't want non-disclosure agreements. We want to know exactly what you're doing, exactly. There could be an average. Are they talking about an average of 24 million gallons per day? Because in October, in August, that could be closer to 34 million gallons a day. And you're gonna have to tell that farmer that needs to water his crops in August, oh, you can't water them as much because Amazon needs more water today. There needs to be a sit down and a development agreement. To my knowledge, there's no development agreement yet. There has to be something in black and white which sets the rules in place where they can't come afterwards and say, oh,
Your 3 minutes are up. Thanks, Dan.
thank you.
Do we have anybody else who wishes to offer a comment?
On things that weren't on the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have a chance to? Sorry, Don.
That's okay, Mike. Don Westerhausen, 52346 Spring Arbor Court, Granger, Indiana. I just have two comments. Number one is, Carl, when you ran for commissioner, you said you wanted to bring about transparency in this seat. I don't see what's so hard about interviewing people for appointed boards publicly. And I just don't see how that is a problem. And I don't know when the last time you did it. And it just seems to be a recurrent problem, and it doesn't seem to, bring forward transparency in any way with what the commissioners do. The second thing is, it's really bothers me is, are you guys ever gonna like adjourn a meeting instead of just recess a meeting? I mean, why are we always recessing instead of adjourning? And it always makes me wonder, why is that? What's going on behind closed doors? Like, what dastardly deeds might be happening because we're in a recess instead of an adjournment? And I don't know, it just bothers me, those two things. Thanks.
Just a quick word on general governmental integrity. When you do things specifically to avoid the rules, that's not very honest. And Mr. Mish reminded me of another case in which the open door law was an issue. The case had nothing to do with whether or not it was an executive session or an open general session. That wasn't an issue. Mr. Mish should know that. He was counsel for the county council, who was the defendant in that case. And the Circuit Court of St. Joseph County put an injunction on the council to follow the open door law because they did meet all together. They didn't do public interviews. And his technical point is right, but you've just made it more clear, my concern. You did it the way you did it, so we wouldn't be able to see what you were doing or know who these people were. Mr. Harding may be a fine person. I don't know if he's a Democrat. We've seen no evidence of anything, and we weren't able to see any evidence because you did everything behind closed doors. You avoided the law on purpose. And that's just shameful. I don't understand why you can't be more adult.
Did you wish to speak to? I thought I heard you say, I wanted to say something. Any other questions? I guess before we leave, we typically don't respond to things you said. Certainly you're entitled to your opinion. I would just point out that I don't believe that public interviews of prospective appointees gains anything. I think you can ask more probing questions when the person isn't under the microscope of the public looking at that. Struck me the other day, I was at a council meeting and our council, as well as the city of South Bend and the city of Mishawaka, they don't even talk about upcoming or announce that they're going to take letters of intent and resumes. They just, hey, this is who we're going to appoint, period. Appreciate your comments. Don't agree, but I do appreciate that everybody has a different point of view. Mr. McManus, we're not going to get into a debate right here. You can come back at another time. You've had your say twice. And with that, just to
Motion to recess.
remind my former opponent, let's have a motion to recess. Second.
Commissioner Hazen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Peter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion